Welcome! So, if you've ever wanted to learn how to code, you have definitely come to the right place. Today, we're taking that very first step on a really exciting journey into Python, one of the most popular and, frankly, powerful programming languages on the planet.
But before we jump in and start writing code, let's get our bearings. This language, it's famous for being easy to read, but also super powerful. It's used for everything from building websites to doing complex data science. So what exactly is this amazing tool? You guessed it, we're talking about Python. And hey, this is not some new kid on the block. It was first released way back in 1991. Now, for you, as someone new to this, that long history is a huge advantage. It means Python is stable, it's really well supported, and there's this massive community you can turn to for help. Okay, to start our adventure, we're going to need a map. And probably the first thing you'll notice on this Python map is that there are kind of two main paths you can take, Python 2 and Python 3. Now, this can be a little confusing, so let's just clear that up right now. This timeline right here, it tells a really clear story. See, Python 2 came out way back in 2000, and it was the standard for years and years. Then, Python 3 was released in 2008, but the real turning point, that was 2020. That's when official support for Python 2 just ended. For good. So what does this mean for you? Well, it makes the choice for new learners dead simple. Python 2 is the past. Python 3 is the present and the future. It's the version that's being actively worked on, the one that's getting all the cool new features. I mean, just as a quick example, in Python 2, you might write print hello, but in Python 3, it's a function, print hello. It's a small change, sure, but it shows how the language has evolved to be more consistent. So yeah, for any new project you're starting, you'll be using Python 3. All right, enough talk. It is time to get our hands dirty. In this section, we are going to write our very first program. Seriously, think of it like learning your first magic spell, a simple command that makes the computer do something pretty amazing. And getting started is actually incredibly simple. Python comes with this tool built right in. It's called idle. All you do is open it up. You'll see a prompt that looks like 3 little angle brackets. You type your command right there, and you hit enter. That's it. You are literally ready to code. And this right here, this brilliantly illustrates Python's whole philosophy. The command is just print, open parentheses, quote, hello world, close quote, close parentheses. It's almost plain English. There's no complex syntax, no confusing setup. You type that one line, hit enter, and bam, the computer greets the world. You've just written a program. How cool is that? Okay, so you can make the computer talk. That's awesome. But how do you make it remember things? This is where variables come in. Just think of them as little magic pouches where you can stash information to use later on. At its core, a variable is really just a name that points to some value. The whole labeled box analogy is perfect. You put something inside the box, like a number or maybe a piece of text, and you stick a label on it. Later, you can just ask for what's in the box by using its label. Simple as that. And creating one is as easy as it looks. You just pick a name, use a single equals sign, and give it a value. For instance, name equals John Doe or pi equals 3.14. You're basically just telling Python, hey, store this value under this label for me. And what's really great is that Python is smart enough to figure out what kind of data it is, whether it's text or a number, all on its own. Now, there are just a few simple rules you gotta keep in mind. The names have to start with a letter or an underscore, and they are case sensitive, so name with a lowercase n is a completely different variable from name with a capital N. Stick to these rules and you'll be all set. Storing one piece of information is great, but what if you have a whole bunch of related stuff? You wouldn't just toss everything into your backpack randomly, right? No, you'd organize it. Well, Python gives us some really powerful tools to do just that. So the first tool we've got is called a list, and it's pretty much what it sounds like, an ordered collection of items. You'd want to use a list when the order of your stuff is important, like the steps in a recipe or, say, the finishing order of a race. The key things to remember are order matters, you can change the items later, and you make one using square brackets. Let's say we create a list like names equals Alice, Bob, Craig. To get an item out, you use its index, or its position. And here's a super crucial detail for all new programmers. Counting starts at 0. I know, it's weird, but you'll get used to it. So names at 0 gives us the first item, Alice. Names at 1 gives us Bob. and so on.
But what if order doesn't matter? What if you want to look things up with a specific label instead of a position number? Well, for that, we have dictionaries. They store information in what we call key-value pairs, just like a real-world dictionary where you look up a word, that's the key, to find its definition, that's the value. And here's how they work. We can create a dictionary of state capitals using these curly braces. Now, instead of using an index, like 0 or 1, we use the key itself, in this case, the word California, to look up its value, which is Sacramento. It's an incredibly powerful way to organize data that's connected like that. You know, in just a few minutes, you've learned how to make the computer talk, how to make it remember things, and how to organize that information into lists and dictionaries. These are the absolute fundamental building blocks of programming. But trust me, this is just the start of the adventure. The really important thing to remember is that Python is designed for growth. You're never really alone. When you get stuck, you can type help right into the shell to learn about any command. If you need a new tool, you can use something called pip to install it from this giant library of packages. And you can import things called modules to instantly add new superpowers to your code. You now have the foundational skills to really start exploring. You've learned the basic language of programming, and you've seen just how accessible Python makes everything. So the only question left is the most exciting one. Now that you know the basics, what will you create next?